I like running, I like running, I like running, I like... Hey, you!
Who, me?
What are you doing out here, you little frail elf thing? Yeah, you're not big and strong like me, right? Yeah. Ogres are the toughest, the meanest, the biggest, and you got nothing. What do you say to that, little elf?
Well, some races start out with better stats for certain classes. The numbers are so minor by the endgame that it doesn't really matter. Certain races can use special abilities, like the Ratonga can disarm traps, the Shir have safe wall, and Wood Elves can track, all regardless of class.
What? Well, I didn't think about that before. What can all the other races do?
Well, come with me and let's find out.
Ratonga are the first race we'll talk about. They are a mouse-humanoid hybrid. Each race gets special abilities. The Ratonga gets sonic vision, which can see invisible but wash out the color of the screen. They also get a unique ability called Rob. Rob attempts to steal money from your target. The success chance works on the level difference between you and the target. It also can only be used on attackable targets. Ratongas should mostly focus on rogues and caster classes. Their specific upgrades include Speedy Paws, which makes hostile spells cast 2% faster, Shadow Looker, which allows you to move 15% faster while stealth or invisible, Secrets of the Underfoot, which increases your trigger count of poisons by 25%. Each race has 6% spread over health and power in the pools section, though some races negate health altogether in this section. Ratonga has 2 in health and 4 in power. For resistances, they go elemental and noxious. Most races give some sort of success chance or progress or durability upgrade, but every race has a specific skill set they are suited to. Ratonga reduce the power requirements for carpentry and alchemy and also give 5 points in metalworking. Next up is the Barbarian, one of the best tanks in the neutral category. They have a 10-second stun resistance ability, but it cannot break a stun that has already started. Also, they have an innate 5% speed bonus, and reduces the initial cost of sprint by 30% and reduces the use cost of sprint by 10. Barbarians should primarily be priests and tanks. Here we see the other side of the abilities where you get a beneficial spell casting speed of 2%. You can also get a 2% blocking chance. They have a Bind Wound, which is an out of combat self-heal, and a 15% fall damage reducer, power regeneration of 6 points, and they are 3% even on each pool. Their resistances are arcane and physical. They are also well suited to be provisioners, alchemists, and carpenters. Next up is the Kerra, best suited for PvP. We picked this one for the best one for PvP because Sonic Vision gives you see invisible, Feline Grace allows you to jump from any height that anybody following you would die from, Feral Rage is a 50% boost for your speed in and out of combat, and Tracking as a racial allows you to find enemies before they find you. Kerra are well suited as casters and tanks. They can upgrade to 1 point more casting speed and multi-attack. In addition to 1% crit chance and 1% block, they have a huge health regen of 9 points while out of combat, the sprint upgrade, and 5% more speed. They also have the solid 3% power and 3% health upgrades. Resists include elemental and physical. Trade skills include 10% off alchemy, 5 points in woodworker and tailoring. Next up is Human, the best all-around harvester in the neutral category. Humans have a few special abilities. They have an innate calm, they can make their call 10 seconds faster, and they can harvest every resource a quarter of a second faster. Their main focus is casters and tanks. They can upgrade to crit chance and block, and multi-attack and casting speed. They can upgrade to 9 points of health regen. They have a sprint upgrade, and a speed upgrade. Their pool dispersion is 3% each, and they have elemental and physical mitigation. For trade skill, Human is our first generalist class, being able to put 5 points in every trade skill and transmuting. Erudite is up next, and it takes the cake for best newbie race. This race has many innate abilities that make the game easier. One of these unique abilities is Aura Vision. This makes casters blue and healers green. This allows you to quickly find the healers and casters in a fight. They also have Falling Grace, which is innate slow fall. They have a racial for breathing underwater, and another racial to teleport once every 12 hours to their group. Erudites are best at casters and priests, and they can also upgrade ability modifier and casting speed. They can upgrade their mount speed, and increase the duration of trade skill drinks and potions by 20%. They also have 9 points in power regen, but none in health regen. As you can see, their pool spread is actually combat power and max power. Resists include elemental and arcane. They can upgrade the progress of sages, they can do better at alchemy, and they can lower tinkering power cost by 10%. Half-elves are a good mix between human abilities and elf abilities, if you want a little of both. Some of the innate abilities include tracking, infrared vision, they can gather and forest a half a second faster, and all kinds of drinks last longer. Half-elves should focus on casters and tanks. They can increase crit chance and block, as well as casting speed and multi-attack. They get a 9-point health regen, a sprint upgrade, and a speed upgrade. Health and power spread is 3% on each. Resistances include elemental and physical. For trade skill, they should focus on jewelers, woodworkers, and carpenters. Next up is gnomes. Though being short in stature, they have some pretty impressive abilities. They can turn themselves into a clockwork, which is good for PvP. They have a ultravision racial, an innate tinkering increase. They can disarm trap as a racial, and they can repair their own equipment for free once every 12 hours. They are best suited for scouts and casters. They can increase multi-attack by 2 points and casting speed by 2 points, 15% faster while stealth, and poison by 25% upgrade. They have a 13% trade skill potion upgrade and 9 points in power regeneration. Their pool spread is 4% in power and 2% in health. The resistances include Noxious and Elemental. Their trade skills include 10% off weaponsmith abilities, durability gain for Alchemist, and 5 points in Carpentry. Aerakyn is a purchase class and has some interesting abilities. One of the most unique abilities is Prior Breath Bulwark, which gives you a Dispel and a Ward all in one ability. It's followed up by Featherfall, a speed enhancement, and a toggleable glide ability. Aerakyns make good casters and tanks. They can also increase multi-attack and ability mod by a decent amount. They have a health regen, and in a Strange Turn events they can increase the trigger count of poisons by 25% even though they are not built for rogue. They have an even spread of 3% health and power on their pools section, and their resistances are elemental and noxious. Going down to trade skill, they can reduce sage cost by 10% and put 5 points in metalworking. Aerakyn does not really have any strong points, and we do not recommend it for any class. Next, we're going to look at Freeblood. This is one of our top picks for rogues. They sport such abilities as Infrared Vision, Shadow Walking, and their True Form. Infrared Vision adds a very interesting heat map to everyone except for the undead, which includes you. You can also show off your true form and revert it, and they have ability to teleport to your group. Freeblood should be casters and rogues. They have the bloodletting ability that allows them to do damage and heal themselves. They can increase the speed of their hostile spells by 2%, increase the multi-attack of their attacks. They can decrease fall damage. They have a power regen. They can increase their invisible movement speed by 15%, upgrade poison trigger chance by 25%. Their pools are a total of health at 2% and power at 4%. Their resistances include Noxious and Elemental. They get a durability upgrade in Alchemy, 10% off Sage abilities, and they get 5 in every trade skill. Next up we have Dark Elves, a fan favorite from the very beginning. Dark Elves have Ultra Vision, a speed boost, and Featherfall. They can teleport to their team. Dark Elves are good at casters and rogues. They can improve the casting speed of hostile spells. They can increase their multi-attack, scaling power regeneration, 15% movement speed while stealth, and they can increase the trigger chance of poisons by 25%. Their pools include 4% power and 2% health. Resists are elemental and noxious. As far as trade skills, they are great at alchemy, sage, and armorers. While ogres do make good tanks, they are really good priests. They have ultra vision, they can mine better, they can make themselves 20% larger, and they can remove stun effects. They make great priests and tanks. They increase the casting speed of beneficial spells, 2% increased block chance, a power regen, bind wound, and 15% fall damage reduction. 3% each on health and power in their pool section. Resists include arcane and physical. For trade skills, 5 points in armorer, 10% off weaponsmith abilities, and 10% off provisioner ability. Trolls are up next. They have ultravision, health regen, immune to fear, and they can make food last longer. They should be priests and tanks. They can increase casting speed of beneficial spells. They can upgrade their block, power regen, bind wound, and reduce fall damage. Their pulls include power and health. Resists include arcane and physical. For trade skill, they make great provisioners, armorers, and jewelers. Sarnak is the primary harvester for the evil side. They have Aqua Vision, a speed boost, they can harvest a quarter second faster, and an innate speed boost. They should be priests, and they can also be tanks. They can increase the casting speed of beneficial abilities by 2% and up their block chance. They have a power regen and bind wound, and they can decrease fall damage. Their pulls are 3% each for power and health. They have mitigation to arcane and physical. For trade skill, they reduce weaponsmith by 10%, they're good at carpenter, and they reduce sage by 10%. Next up we have Iksar, mighty lizard warriors. They have aqua vision to see underwater, they have health regeneration, they can breathe underwater, and they have safe fall. They make decent casters and can be tanks. They can increase hostile ability casting speed by 2% and block by 2%. They also have a power regen, a bind wound, and they reduce fall damage. Their pulls are 3% each. Their resists are elemental and physical. For trade skills, they're good at alchemy, tailoring, and armor. Arasai is the evil fairy race. They have ultravision, featherfall, they have a speed boost, and they can glide. Arasai should be scouts and casters. They can increase their multi-attack and increase hostile ability cast by 2%. They can increase stealth speed, increase their poison trigger count, increase their power regen. Their pulls are 4% power and 2% health. Their resists are noxious and elemental. For trade skill, they're good at jeweler, transmuting, and woodworker. First up we have Shir, one of the premium races. They have infrared vision, they have pounce which lets them teleport to a target, intrinsic nature which increases their melee DPS, and they have the detect weakness ability of rangers innately. They should be tanks and priests. They can increase their multi-attack and casting speed of beneficial spells by 2%. They have a health regen, a sprint upgrade, and falling damage reducer. Their pulls are 3% for health and power. Their resists are elemental and physical. For trade skill, they're good at provisioner and tailoring. Next up we have halflings, and they make great rogues. They've got infrared vision, they can pick pockets, which does the same thing as Ratonga's Rob, and they've got tracking by default. They should be rogues and priests. They can increase their multi-attack, they can increase their casting speed by 2%, they can move 15% faster while invisible, they can increase the trigger count of poisons by 25%, they've got a power regen, they have 4% power and 2% health on their pulls. Their resists are noxious and arcane. For trade skills, they make great tailorers, provisioners, and jewelers. Next up we have wood elves. They have infrared vision, gathering and foresting is done half a second faster, they have an innate speed boost and innate tracking. They should be rogues and priests. They increase their multi-attack and cast beneficial spells faster. They can move faster while invisible and increase the trigger count of poisons by 25%. They have a power regen. Their pulls are 4% power and 2% health. Their resistances are noxious and arcane. For trade skills, they're great at woodworking, tailoring, and jeweler. Next up we have high elves. High elves have infrared vision, they're innate transmuters, they have a featherfall ability, and they can teleport to their group once every 12 hours. They make great casters and priests. They can increase their ability mod, and they can increase their ability casting speed of all abilities. They have a mount speed increase, and they have a power regen. They have 3% max power and a scaling combat power regen. Their resists are elemental and arcane. For trade skill, they're great at sage, jeweler, and tailoring. Next we have Fae, the good fairy race. Fae have very similar abilities to the Arasai. They have infrared vision, featherfall, a speed boost, and glide. But these ones should be rogues and priests. They can increase their multi-attack, their beneficial spellcasting speed, stealth speed, trigger count, poisons, power regen. Their pulls have a max of 4% power and 2% health. They have noxious and elemental resists. For trade skill, they make great sages, woodworkers, and tailorers. Now we have Frogloks. Frogloks have an innate ability to allow them to walk on the bottom of the water. Frogloks have aqua vision, gills that allow them to breathe underwater, the ability to allow them to walk underwater, and a health regen. They make great priests and tanks. They can increase their beneficial casting speed by 2% and increase their block by 2%. They have a damage reduction from falling, bind wound, a power regen, and their pulls are 3% each. Resists include arcane and physical. For trade skill, they make great armor smiths, weaponsmiths, and sages. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, or follow if you enjoy the content. Also, here's some other videos you might find interesting. If you'd like to support my work, please consider donating, buying some merchandise, or join Patreon. Thanks.